I just want to make a quick note. I do a lot of like video notes for myself, so I'm not always sure if it's shit that I'm going to post or not when I start them out. But this one feels relevant for kind of for anybody on the healing path. Some of the shit. Some of the shit, if you're doing deep trauma work, deep like inner child healing work, we don't even always know what it is that's down there, that's causing so much pain and friction and stuck and blocked up energy centers, and ultimately, in my world, in my belief system, like that right there is the cause of most disease, and what they're finding out in medicine now too. Even Western medicine is finally admitting this. Like most illness is caused by, in terms of like hospital visits and stuff, it's mostly stress related. Most chronic. Most chronic illness and problems are stress related. They think like 85%, and a lot of this stuff is buried. It's buried like emotional pain and emotional issues. And there's no like, the body and the mind are separated. That's a schism that's part of the Western worldview that's just completely broken. They're coming to terms with that now, but this is like we're like 1,000 years into it since they really like kind of invented that. Like our thinking mind is separate from the rest of the world, and that's what separates us from animal kingdom and all this other stuff, or our spirit, and that we're separate from God. All this separation, like that's the problem right there. That's the problem. But our body and our mind, emotional pain and physical pain use the exact same circuitry. It's the same circuitry, and emotional pain that's blocked out for long periods of time eventually turns into disease of one kind or another. Or chronic pain, or all kinds of things that they don't always get registered as disease, but it's down there. It's down there. So it's not really my belief system, but I did come to that belief or recognition through the spiritual journey, through the spiritual path. But let's see if we can remember why I fucking started talking. The journey, healing chronic shit, healing chronic issues and childhood stuff, especially when those kind of injuries, when that kind of pain gets locked into our nervous system, especially if we're like under like below adolescent age, like childhood, early to late childhood, most of the time we're not going to remember that stuff. And if it's a severe trauma, our brain and nervous system locks it away into a place that we definitely won't remember it until such time, if it ever comes, as we can recognize it and process it. For many people, that doesn't ever happen. It gets integrated into the personality, and we think it's just part of how we are, how things are, how it is. But a lot of that shit is actually injuries severe enough, whether physical, emotional, SA, or neglect. Neglect actually does more damage than any of these other things. We don't have accurate emotional reflection from caregivers in our lives. It's crazy. It's crazy when you start learning about this stuff. And if you can put the pieces together, if you start putting the pieces together, it's kind of shocking, man. It's kind of shocking. And then we're not only looking at our own life, looking at other people's lives, looking at society, looking at societies around the world, and how, multiply this over hundreds of thousands or millions of people. When there's warfare, when there's famine, when there's things like that, it gets baked in not only to the personality, but into cultures across time. It affects our DNA, and then that affects our freaking children, our grandchildren, our offspring. That's crazy. It's really freaking crazy how it works. So it's like, And thinking about breaking generational curses, not only are we often healing our own life, our own brain, body, nervous system from trauma that we don't even know about, but we're literally healing our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents' trauma a lot of times, the generational stuff that we have no idea. We have no idea that any of that stuff is even in there. It's freaking crazy, man. It's crazy, this journey. But the reason I started this, hey Squirrely, I was thinking about it because in my journey this year, I had a really major opening and upgrade in early January, and I've been